to this very, very special interview from Davos in Switzerland. In fact, from the NDTV studio in Davos, and with us here, a very, very special guest, one of the world's most powerful women, Indra Nooyi, chairperson and CEO of the $43 billion multinational giant PepsiCo. Thanks so much, ma'am, for being with us, taking us time from your very, very busy schedule, and more importantly, braving the snow to be with us here in the NDTV studio. Such a pleasure to have you with us here. My pleasure. Well, it's snowing here, but it seems like the chill of the global recession seems to be over, and the global economy is warming up a bit. Do you feel we're out of the woods?
I don't know. Time will tell. I think all of the policymakers and all of the countries are doing the right things to get us out of the recession, but until we're actually out of it and we see job growth, we can't declare victory.
And that's the big worry, jobless recovery that we are seeing right now. And that's the big worry that even perhaps Barack Obama talking about in his very important address a short while ago, where he's saying, yes, the worst is over, but the devastation is still there. Let me change gears a little and talk a bit about what Barack Obama has said about outsourcing. Yet another crackdown, something that's really got Indian companies and the Indian industry worried. Your thoughts on the same?
Well, I think these are very interesting times. Interesting times because on the one hand, everybody recognizes that globalization is good. Global trade is good for countries, for companies. Everybody recognizes that. At the same time, when you're in a recession and when you have extreme levels of joblessness in certain countries, protectionist tendencies are inevitable. So I think the challenge is to talk our way through this and really craft a policy that threads the needle between globalization on the one hand and protectionist tendencies on the other hand. I think this is an evolving story, and we have to make sure that we understand both sides of the issue as opposed to coming down heavily on saying globalization is the only way to go or protectionism is the only way to go. It's probably one of the most complex subjects and requires careful discussion and management through over the next few weeks and months.
That's right. In fact, we've seen the opportunities and the advantages of globalization, but now we also have to live with the problems that globalization brings with it. But staying with Barack Obama as someone who really represents corporate America, give us your views on Barack Obama's 1 year in office. What, according to you, have been his successes and failures?
Well, you know, I'm not here to make any political statement. All that I can tell you is that as a President of the United States, he's handling a very, very difficult situation. A difficult economy, recession, a financial meltdown. I mean, every crisis that you could throw at a world leader has been thrown at him. And so the fact that a year later he's still standing strong and talking about policy options and trying to come up with a way to get us out of this crisis we're in, I think speaks volumes about his presidency. But at this point, all of us have to put faith in the American presidency because it is still the world's most powerful country, the world's largest country, and until the United States comes out of the recession, the whole world is not going to be successful. So at this point, it's critically important that all of us have faith in the president, support him, and to the extent that we're critics, let's provide him constructive options as opposed to criticizing. To me, the biggest issue I have is people who criticize without a solution.
Without the solution.
Exactly right.
So constructive options is perhaps something that world leaders here in Davos are also talking about. Your thoughts over the last 2 days that you've been here, any important things that you've picked up in terms of the way forward for the global economy in the aftermath of this global financial crisis?
I think as I sort of look at all the outcome of all the panels, people are talking about the same issues. They're talking about rewriting the rules of capitalism, rewriting the rules of financial institutions, bringing more moral leadership back into boardrooms. I mean, the themes are the same across the board. I think the time has now come to act on these issues as opposed to just talking about them. But in order to really act on these issues, I think you need global cooperation because all of these issues cannot be contained within nation states. When you talk about a financial crisis, when you talk about trade flows, when you talk about moral leadership in today's world of multinationals, you can't have moral leadership in one country and not have it in another. So we're talking about global cooperation, stuff that has to be, you know, really coordinated across the entire world. Unfortunately, we don't have the right organizations to carry out the coordination because many of the coordinating bodies that were set up in the aftermath of the Second World War in a different world, when the world was not so interconnected. So I think a lot of the rules have to be rewritten. I mean, President Sarkozy yesterday talked about rewriting the rules of Bretton Woods, coming up with Bretton Woods 2 or 3.
Tuba.com